Mia hesitated outside the private room of the club for a whole half hour before daring to enter. The older man couldn't wait any longer and finally sent a message. "Are you here, darling? I've been waiting anxiously. You promised to accompany me well, you won't back out, will you? Hurry up, let me pamper you." Just as Mia was considering whether to reply first and buy herself some more time, a shocking photo suddenly appeared on the screen, blinding her eyes. This damn person had actually taken a picture of her intimate parts. Ugh. Damn it, Mia almost felt nauseous. What the hell was wrong with him? She agreed to accompany him, but at most, it was just to have a drink with him. Did he really think she would sell herself to him for a job, for the meager amount of money to treat her mom's illness? Disgusting. Without a moment's hesitation, Mia quickly deleted the picture and then blocked this person. Even so, she felt like her phone had been contaminated. If she weren't so broke, she would seriously consider throwing away the phone just to get rid of the filth. The reason Mia hesitated at the entrance of the private room was to wait for a reply. Before coming to the club, she had asked another person for a loan. If he could lend her money, she wouldn't have to meet this old pervert in this ghostly place. The whole thing started because Mia's mother was seriously ill and needed surgery. Coupled with a previous debt at home, creditors came knocking every day. She needed a total of $200,000 to get out of this predicament. That day, with no other options, she asked the boss for a loan, only to be decisively rejected. That night, she accompanied the boss to entertain clients and was harassed by the lecherous client Logan. Already annoyed, she slapped Logan in the face, and he retaliated by kicking her. The boss wanted to fire her on the spot, but Logan reluctantly intervened, saying that as long as she was willing to accompany him for a drink and make him happy, not only would the boss not fire her, but he would also personally lend her $200,000. Although she knew this guy wasn't a good person, she had no choice but to agree. She hoped that just drinking and singing would be enough, but there was no guarantee that he wouldn't make unreasonable demands. So, after much thought, she reluctantly sent a message to her college senior, Joseph, asking for a loan. Little did she know that, before Joseph's reply arrived, she received such a disgusting photo. The atmosphere in the club made her nauseous. She bit her lip and walked out of the club, sitting down by a flower bed at the entrance, checking her phone once again, still no new messages. She didn't know if the other person was too busy to see her message or simply didn't want to lend her money. Her heart felt empty. Just as she was lost and couldn't hold back her tears, she suddenly heard a crisp new message alert. Mia startled and quickly opened her phone. It was him. Joseph didn't mention the money, instead, he sent her a photo. "I found the photo, it's saved on the computer. Do you remember?" Mia's heart skipped a beat. Remember? How could she forget? It was 7 years ago when she and a group of classmates went on a trip to Shieling Snow Mountain. She and Joseph took a group photo in front of the snowy mountain. At that time, Joseph was the heartthrob of many girls, but no one knew that Mia had fallen in love with this clean and handsome senior from the first day of freshman orientation. Over the years, she actively participated in clubs, closely followed Joseph's activities, and attended every event he was involved in, all to get closer to her love. Even the trip to the snowy mountain, she didn't miss it. In order to join them, she intentionally built a good relationship with one of the senior sisters to have her bring Mia along. For this, she even started part-time jobs 2 months in advance to save up for the trip and expenses, ultimately gaining the opportunity to take a solo photo with the senior in front of the snowy mountain. In the photo, a Mia 7 years younger leaned against the tall, handsome, and vibrant Joseph, looking a bit shy. Joseph, with open arms, appeared as if he wanted to embrace the entire world. The towering and majestic snowy mountain stood behind them, shining with a sacred light. Everyone could see her affection for Joseph, especially in the fiery and passionate way she looked at him. The senior sister even directly pointed out her feelings, offering to help convey her emotions, but Mia declined. Sometimes she felt that Joseph knew about her feelings, otherwise, why would he play around with everyone but feel hesitant to joke with her? With so many times she secretly glanced at him, she couldn't believe he hadn't noticed anything. Looking at the photo, Mia was in a trance, as if she had traveled back to that day in time. This photo had once been her only treasure, seen countless times as she flipped through it. It accompanied her through every lonely and unbearable night. Even now, this photo still existed in her WeChat collection, never crossed her mind to delete it. She just didn't expect that Joseph had been keeping it as well. The Joseph of the past was like the sun, shining brightly. Despite her deep affection for him, she never confessed due to her self-doubt and timidity. Now that he had his own successful company and a flourishing career, while she was just a poor worker, how could she dare to bring up the past? How could she dare to expect anything more? During the chance encounter at the client's company, if he hadn't called out to her first, she wouldn't have dared to greet him actively. When he said, "We've taken a photo together, haven't we?" she felt both happy and sad. Happy that he remembered her, sad because besides the photo, they had no other memories together. She still didn't know whether he had figured out her feelings or if there was a moment when she entered his heart. Then they exchanged contact information, of course, initiated by him. Before leaving, he told her that if there's anything she needs help with, she can reach out to him. He would do his best to assist. This statement is always a polite remark, and Mia naturally didn't take it seriously. However, she still hoped to receive a message from Joseph, even if it was just a few words. Of course, she knew the likelihood was small. Someone as successful as him had a busy schedule every day, and why would he bother with someone like her? In the end, she couldn't help but send a greeting message to him. To avoid revealing her true feelings, she asked him some business-related questions. Joseph responded warmly, but such conversations were not frequent, just a few times over the past few months. Then came the matter of her mother's diagnosis and her request to borrow money from him. Now, looking at the photo he sent, Mia's heart warmed, and suddenly she felt like crying. Loving someone is so tiring, especially in her case of a long-lasting one-sided love. Over the years, she had encountered many interested suitors, and relatives and friends had introduced potential partners to her. She wasn't opposed to it, just couldn't muster any interest. Everyone seemed unexciting. Only once did she encounter someone resembling him, prompting her to break her habit and initiate a conversation. Mia paused her thoughts, thinking, I clearly asked him for money, so why did he send a photo? Could it be that he doesn't want to lend me money and is intentionally changing the subject? It's fine if he doesn't lend, it's not like their relationship is close enough for him to easily lend 20,000. Mia decided that if he avoided discussing money, she wouldn't bring it up again. Asking him for money was already embarrassing enough. However, Joseph brought up the topic of money next. Joseph said, I just found this photo on my computer after seeing your message. Send me your account number, and I'll have the finance department transfer the money to you in a while. Mia couldn't believe her eyes. Nervously shaking, she said, Are you really going to lend me money? Joseph replied, I remember telling you last time, if you face any difficulties, you can come to me. You don't think I'm lying, do you? Mia said, No, that's not what I mean. I just didn't expect you to agree to lend me money so quickly. Thank you so much, Joseph. Joseph said, You can still call me senior, just like the day we met. Honestly, over these years, no one has called me senior again. It sounds quite friendly at first listen, like going back to the past. Joseph continued, By the way, which hospital is your mom in? Is there anything else I can help with? Excitedly, Mia said, No need, my mom is in a hospital in our hometown, and my sister and the others are taking care of her. You lending me money is already the biggest help. Suddenly gathering courage, Mia said, Senior, do you have time? You've lent me so much money, can I treat you to a meal? She had heard that Joseph had recently divorced and was currently single. She added, It's okay if you don't have time, I know you're very busy. Joseph hesitated for a moment and said, How about this Friday night? Due to standing up Logan and blocking him, Mia was predictably fired from her job. However, she didn't care. She had long lost interest in that lousy job, especially since she was currently immersed in the immense joy of an upcoming date with Joseph. She had no time to spare for anything else. Excitement kept her awake the entire night, resulting in dark circles under her eyes, making her look like a panda. Unaccustomed to using facial masks, she opted for a cucumber slice to freshen her face. Starting from the afternoon, she rummaged through her closet but found no decent outfit. In the end, she gritted her teeth and spent $2,000 at a clothing store to buy an outfit that would highlight her perfect figure without being too flashy. Anticipating that the restaurant Joseph chose wouldn't be cheap, she stuffed her bank card into her purse. With a balance of over $3,000, paying for the meal shouldn't be a problem. Although she mentioned she could take a taxi over the phone, Joseph still considerately drove to the rental house downstairs to pick her up. Spotting Joseph from a distance, her heart fluttered like a little deer. Over the years of twists and turns, there was still only one person she truly liked. The dinner was delightful. Joseph spoke eloquently, displaying gentlemanly manners as he poured wine, cut her steak, and even tipped the waiter extra to play a song Mia loved. Surprised, she asked, "How did you know I love this song?" Joseph smiled faintly and replied, "I've seen your moments on social media." Mia's heart skipped a beat. She hadn't shared her favorite songs on social media for a long time, with the last post being over a year ago. It showed that Joseph had genuinely scrolled through her moments. Tonight, Mia was especially shy and beautiful. Despite not being as young, every expression resembled a girl experiencing her first love, touching to the heart. After that night, their relationship quickly heated up. Although Joseph didn't explicitly confess, Mia felt his deep affection for her. He would proactively send her messages, inquire about her well-being, and ask about her mother's health. During his free time, he would invite her to watch movies, dine at Western restaurants, and more. During this period, Mia made a trip back to her hometown. That week, she struggled to sleep every night, with Joseph filling her thoughts. When her mother was discharged, she hurried back, unable to suppress the impulse in her heart, choosing to stay voluntarily and spending a beautiful night with Joseph. After confirming their relationship, Mia suggested working at Joseph's company, but he declined, stating that there were no suitable positions for her at the moment. He offered to introduce her to other job opportunities, but Mia refused, saying she could find one on her own. As their relationship deepened, Mia discovered some of Joseph's quirks, such as his appreciation for women in black silk skirts, evident from the numerous related pictures stored on his phone. Additionally, he occasionally used profanity and made some risque jokes. However, Mia understood that these were harmless traits, recognizing that nobody is perfect. The only thing that bothered Mia was that, despite the prolonged period they spent together, Joseph never mentioned introducing her to his family or friends, nor did he take her to his company. Each time she asked, Joseph skillfully avoided the topic. On Mia's birthday, Joseph happened to have a dinner engagement. He asked if she wanted to join him. Initially hesitant, Mia considered the rarity of him bringing her to such an occasion and agreed. Upon entering the private room, a familiar chubby face caught Mia off guard. It was Logan, the one who had harassed her before and even sent her disgusting photos. Logan, who was already quite drunk, didn't notice her initially and greeted Joseph enthusiastically, urging him to drink with him. Joseph responded, "Traffic was bad on the way here. You know my tolerance is low, 3 drinks and I'm done." Logan, undeterred, continued, "Come on, even if you're done, I'll arrange a beautiful woman to keep your bed warm." "I've arranged it before, haven't I?" "Shut up." Joseph hastily interjected. "What beautiful woman? Don't talk nonsense." It was only then that Logan noticed Mia standing at the door. He found her vaguely familiar and was about to take a closer look, but Mia had already left in a hurry. Outside the restaurant, she sent Joseph a message, "I have something to attend to, you finish your meal and go back early." The next day, Mia asked Joseph, "Are you close to that Logan guy?" Joseph replied, "Business partner, we usually have dealings." "Do you know him?" "Oh, right, he had collaborations with your company before. It's normal if you know him." Mia inquired further, "You drank last night. How did you get back?" She was actually concerned about Logan's comment regarding arranging a woman to warm Joseph's bed, making it sound like this wasn't the first time. "Logan's driver took me back. I had been drinking, so I definitely wouldn't drive." "You can rest assured," Joseph assured her. Getting involved with someone like Logan, how could Mia possibly feel at ease? Even though she finds Logan extremely repulsive, and the very thought of him brings back the images he sent her, she still suppresses her disgust to contact Logan for the sake of Joseph. The voice of an older man is always so slick and sticky, making one feel nauseous. He says, "Haha, didn't expect this. You stood me up that day, even blocked me, turns out you've climbed up the social ladder." As for Joseph, he's young and handsome, no wonder you're attracted to him. But have you ever thought, a young and handsome guy like him must have plenty of women vying for his attention? Not like me, I may be older and not as handsome, but I know how to treat people. Besides, can a man judge solely based on appearance? Joseph is indeed a bit younger, but in terms of capability, he can't compare to me. Without the support of big brothers like us, he's just a nobody. You haven't seen the way he bows down to me. Haha, speaking frankly, being with me is better than being with him. Go to hell. Mia retorted angrily. Don't degrade Joseph like that. He's not as despicable as you are. Despicable? Logan laughed heartily. I've lived half a century, and no woman has ever called me that. What we did was consensual, I didn't force you. Is Joseph not despicable? So, a good-looking guy like him is exempt from being despicable, huh? Mia angrily retorted, shut up. Joseph and I are in a serious relationship, I am his girlfriend. How could he be despicable? Logan laughed heartily and said, haha, alright. If he's not despicable, I am. So, let me ask you, why did you call me? Isn't it because you don't trust him and wanted to ask me about him? Let me tell you the truth, Joseph is even more promiscuous than we are. At most, you're just his bed partner, not even a lover. He just appears more refined, understanding romance, deceiving women like you. If you don't believe me, I have plenty of photos in my phone of us having a good time together. Joseph is in there too. Do you want to take a look? Although Mia replied, no need, Logan quickly sent several photos and even a short video after hanging up. In the video, Joseph appeared entirely different from his usual self, with a handsome face adorned with a wicked smile, and his hands wandering over a woman's body without restraint. Realizing that such actions wouldn't bode well with Joseph, Logan promptly retracted his messages. The next day, Mia asked Joseph when he planned to introduce her to his family. She intentionally brought up the topic, not out of impatience but rather to gauge his response. Mia was never in a rush. If Joseph truly valued her, even if he had no intention of marriage or envisioned a lifelong commitment, she was willing to accompany him. Perhaps a person has many facets, and what she had seen so far was just one aspect of him. Unsurprisingly, Joseph politely declined her request. Sensing that the question seemed to displease him, Mia laughed it off, saying, I just mentioned it casually, don't take it to heart. By the way, I have something to tell you. My sister called, and my mom is recovering well. Someone is interested in our house in town, so my mom plans to sell it and move back to the village. Now, I can repay you. Do you really have to repay it? Joseph inquired. I want to repay you. I don't want to owe you anything, Mia replied. A week later, Mia received the proceeds from selling the house and repaid Joseph. To her surprise, he promptly transferred an additional $250,000. When she called to ask about it, he casually said, since you've repaid what you owed me, I don't want to owe you either. I'm still a man, I may not be able to give you anything else, but I can certainly return the money. Mia sighed. Was this his way of being moved by her innocence, or was it a compensation for the inability to marry her? Regardless, some matters seemed to reach a point where decisions had to be made. Should she continue this unnamed and undefined relationship, or should they part ways and go their separate paths? 2 days later, late at night, Joseph called her, seemingly drunk, and asked her to come to the hotel. Mia declined as it was too late. Shortly after, she received a series of selfies from Joseph with a caption, Darling, come quickly, I really want you. I can't hold back much longer. Such a familiar scene, such familiar words. Perhaps for a couple deeply in love, this was just a playful way to enhance their connection. However, at that moment, Mia's heart pounded, and she thought of Logan and the highly similar, disturbing photo. She had struggled so hard back then to avoid falling into a quagmire, but in the end, didn't she fall into one anyway? Being kept, being demeaned, just with a different master. In that moment, the extremely thick filter in Mia's eyes, accumulated over 7 years for Joseph, shattered with a loud crack. She felt an overwhelming sense of disgust. Without hesitation, she deleted her chat history with Joseph and then blocked him. Her final act was to open her WeChat favorites and delete the picture taken 7 years ago, in front of the snowy mountain.